Hello. Uh, we're talking citations, how to cite a paper. It is everybody's, I think, agreed least favorite part of the paper. Um, I don't enjoy doing it, but it is necessary. So there are two pieces to this you have to worry about. In the text, sometimes they're called parenthetical notations, sometimes they're called embedded, sometimes they're called in-text citations. Any kind of fact or quote um, you use in the paper, you have to cite. And so here's an example. Franklin Roosevelt introduced the Social Security Act only after months of public prodding from Dr. Francis Townsend. And I got that in a book by Knox on page 132. So you want to have this simple, just author and page number. If there's no page number, and we went over this in the Zoom session the other day, you just do that. But if it's most things have page numbers. Books do, magazine articles do, newspapers do, and obviously a documentary does not, and some, a lot of web pages don't. I was going to say something else, I forgot. So that's the first thing. You want to match what you write here, the author's name, to your works cited. So if you say Knox here, then on the works cited, I should be able to find that reference very easily as the author's name Knox. If there is no author, you can use a shortened version of the title, and I'll show you what I'm talking about there in a moment. Just something to keep in mind, works cited versus a bibliography. You are using a works cited, so on the final version of the paper, and that means you only need to include things that you actually cite in the paper versus a bibliography, which would be a listing of all the works that you consulted in learning about your topic. The main thing for me is it needs to be easy to follow. So if I want to check one of your citations, I shouldn't have a hard time figuring out what the reference in the text is to which piece of work it is in your works cited. It should be seamless and quick for me to go from the body of the paper where the citation is to the works cited list. And that kind of leads to the last question, or this: do I check your citations? And the answer is yeah, sometimes. Mostly I check them when they don't make sense to me and they're confusing. And so obviously I know a fair amount of this history, and I know when stuff is sensible or not. So I don't check everything. I will check some portion of everybody's. But when things start to not make sense is when I really follow up. And I cannot stress enough that if I have spent time trying to figure out where you got some information and it becomes clear that you didn't really get that from anywhere, that was a bogus citation, that's pretty much an automatic F. So it's important to get your citations right. And so for me, the reason I use them is to kind of see where you got some stuff. And sometimes people make honest mistakes where they say something kind of goofy in the paper, and I'm like, where did that come from? And I check the citation, and the person really did have a real citation, but it's to like a posted version of a student paper or something like that. And I think I talked about that in class one day. So just be careful with your citations. And then the last thing, I should have mentioned this before. I think I did very early on. You're going to eventually have to turn the paper in through Turnitin, and I will post guidelines for that. That shouldn't be a huge problem for you, but I just wanted to remind you that's something we're going to have to do. Okay, that's it. That was a quick, oh, I'm not done. How to do the works cited. I'm not going to go through all the lessons for that. I am going to direct you, though, to Purdue University has an online writing lab called OWL, and it is the kind of gold standard in colleges. So this link is just how to do a works cited page in MLA. So there are different formats. Bethlehem uses MLA. It was updated a few years ago in 2016, and this page has kind of all the basic rules and how to do it. Um, and you can see here, for example, work with no known author. So you want to alphabetize everything. It should always be alphabetized. No numbering, no bullet points or anything like that. Just alphabetize. And you want to use a shortened version of the title in the parenthetical citations in your paper, like Boring Postcards USA has no known authors, so they put it right here, and they still keep it alphabetized. Okay, I will give you that link for the Purdue OWL Writing Lab. That's it.